Hi, my name is Poppy Phillips of Equine Alternatives and Holistic Animal Insights, and I wanted to do a public holiday presentation for all you pet lovers and owners so that you would have a pet-safe holiday. And so I did this slideshow in my membership last week, and on Facebook today saw that somebody's puppy died due to a holiday mishap, and this has kind of spurred me on to make this a public presentation. So I hope you enjoy, and hopefully we'll get through it quickly. I need to cue this up, so forgive me, you guys. Let me get this back to square one. I'm the owner, if you don't know me, I'm the owner of Equine Alternatives and Holistic Animal Insights, also the Holistic Animal Insights private membership. I'm a board certified animal naturopath, which is a glorified name for a holistic wellness coach for your animals. I'm not a veterinarian. I cannot diagnose, advise on medication, pierce skin, or perform surgery. This presentation is for educational purposes only. I want to make sure you and your pets have the loveliest Christmas season ever. That includes knowing possible pitfalls and avoiding having to rush mid-celebration to go to the ER. We have 5 major topics today: holiday hazard, fragrances, toxic botanicals, consumables, and stress. So let's start with hazards. My own dog Sport died from consuming Christmas tinsel. My dog was not that kind of dog. He was not that rummaging, get in everything, chew up anything type of dog. He was an adult, older dog, mixed breed, probably a little smaller than a German Shepherd. And he was losing weight rapidly. We thought maybe pancreatitis, possibly cancer. And as he kept losing weight, my parents finally took action, and it turned out he had consumed Christmas tinsel. Now, what's strange about this is I don't even think it was Christmas, and he never chewed on anything that I know of. He was not that kind of dog. So this was such an unusual experience and totally preventable. So hopefully none of you go through this painful death that Sport went through. Tinsel, ribbon, yarn, anything stringy can result in a condition called linear foreign body. Usually cats are expected to be playing with that stuff, but also look at Sport. A curious dog or puppy can be a victim. Better off not using it if you think it's a problem. We didn't think it was a problem, and it took my dog's life. Substituting out larger, less shiny decor or restricting access to your decorations might be necessary. And foreign bodies. I actually had a corgi that would eat rocks all the time. He ended up with 4 surgeries, 4 gastric surgeries. And the 4th one, he didn't bounce back very well from. So if you have a dog that's a little mischievous, likes to play with rocks, bones, toys, balls, anything, these eyes on these little stuffed animals can be pulled off. Christmas decorations, packaging, and wrapping can cause gastrointestinal distress and might be life-threatening. So keep everything in your waste baskets, put them behind doors that your pets can't get to, or dispose of everything out of the house as quickly as possible. And then don't give your dog cooked bones, but raw bones are fine if supervised. And they have to be big enough for your dog's jaw and head. So I have a bulldog, an old English bulldog. His face, his jaw is massive. So even though he's only 50 pounds and below my knees, he needs a huge bone because he can just eat anything mid-size. If you have ornaments, it just seems to be common sense to keep them higher up, especially the glass ones. This just happened to a friend of mine. A long-term client called me, said, I came home to glass on the floor and I think my dogs ate glass. And I said, well, shove a bunch of bread down them and hope for the best. Call your vet, talk to them about it. But don't put glass ornaments on your tree in the lower areas. Place them higher, but also don't do homemade ornaments. Salt dough can be very toxic too. So maybe skip a couple of your tree limbs and work higher and do toys that you will not like lose sleep over on the lower branches. So Christmas lights, lots of electricity during Christmas. It's part of the beauty of it, but you can shock your animal. So the Facebook post that inspired me to do this presentation today was a post that somebody's puppy electrocuted itself to death, a 12-week-old puppy. And so you guys, rubber cords can look like dog toys. Puppies, kittens, they just look fun. So make sure you unplug your lights when you're not supervising your animals. And when you are supervising your animals, just make sure you cover things up so they can't get to it. Pets that chew on electric cords, according to Preventative Vet, can sustain burns on their tongue and elsewhere in their mouth. Pets also might develop a buildup of fluid within their lungs as a result of electric shock. This can also cause heart failure or a non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema, which can be fatal also. Signs that your pet may have suffered an electric shock: abnormal behavior, hiding, drooling, refusal to eat or drink, random or abnormal urination, defecation near an electrical cord, or evidence of a chewed cord. It's not worth it, you guys. That post broke my heart, and it's totally preventable. This is something new I never knew about, and I got this off the Pet Poison Hotline. Recently imported snow globes were found to have antifreeze in them, ethylene glycol. It is super toxic to dogs and cats, and it tastes good to them. There's this sweet flavor to them. So early signs of poisoning would be like a drunk-like uncoordinated look, excessive thirst, lethargy. I'm going to add vomiting. I had a dog and a cat that ran to my backyard in a certain area and started licking up this spot, and they did not like each other. So it was really bizarre. I was sitting on my porch having my morning coffee, watching my two animals like run to this one spot and start licking. I was like, that's weird. And then they turned around and started projectile vomiting. I knew it was antifreeze. And there was a string of robberies happening in my area. So what has been going on is they would throw antifreeze over the fence at night, kill the animals, and rob the house the next day. And so I shoved activated charcoal, even though it's online, it says it's not effective. I did it anyway, and homeopathic remedies. And by the time I got the pets to the vet, they were totally stable. And the vet even bought me on the test. I said, I want an antifreeze test. She goes, this isn't antifreeze. This is not what antifreeze looks like. I'm like, don't fight with me. I'm going to pay for it. I want an antifreeze test. And they called me 2 hours later and said, get your pets back here. It is totally antifreeze. We owe you an apology. And they were actually really, really stable. And the nice thing about it is, well, thank God, is there runs a risk of kidney damage with antifreeze and other organ damage. And they both lived long lives. They lived past their life expectancy, which is amazing. Thank God. So this is deemed this bone right here, Rodney Habib deems it as the deadliest pet chew ever. The reason why is it's covered in like smoke flavored stuff, which is artificial, glued together. It's made out of leather. It's not made out of meat. So it can be obstruction. It sits in the stomach for a very, very long time. So there's nothing natural about this. And then this bone is something that I bought many, many years ago for my dog, thinking it'd be an awesome treat. And it gave him pancreatitis and made him very, very sick. And so these you see everywhere at all pet stores, and they come with absolutely no warnings on them. And you think you're doing something really fun for your animal. I cannot believe that they like sell this stuff, because the harm can be so hardcore. So do not be tempted to purchase these fun big bones for your dogs. It's just not worth it. If somebody gives you these bones, throw it out. Don't even try. So hard on them. And so you're fine with raw bones or healthy meat-based snacks, not leather. And fragrances. Fragrances have powerful effects on people, affecting our mood, behavior, and even our work performance. And this is from Preventative Vet. So 249 million Americans use air fresheners and room deodorizers in 2020. I hate that stuff. It's so gross to me. I'm super, super sensitive to it. But yes, it's true. It's a ridiculous amount of numbers. And 2024, they think 255.88 million people will be using this stuff. People are capable of discriminating 1 trillion different odors. Dogs can sense 100 million, and cats, actually more than dogs, 200 million odors. However, the area of the brain that analyzes odor is 40 times larger in dogs than people. So the smaller the smell, they still can smell. And cats appear to be able to smell 14 times better than humans. Watch your potpourri. So dry potpourri can contain a bunch of different fragrances. Some can be too spicy for cats and dogs, like those scented pine cones. So that can be offensive and pungent, but also some of these potpourri have painted like this image, like gold, silver, glitter. And so if your animal gets into them, it could be harmful that way too. Some things are toxic. Some spices are toxic. Too much cinnamon could be toxic. So, and liquid potpourri is usually artificial fragrance, can cause severe chemical burns in the mouth of a cat that licks it, fever, difficulty breathing, tremors. Dogs aren't quite as sensitive, but you're better off doing something non-toxic, like a non-toxic candle or essential oil diffusing that's safe for pets. I just talked to a candle expert. I just had an interview with her, and she shared her her findings because her husband was allergic to scents and she really wanted to have candles in her home. So she took like 11 months studying different non-toxic substances and created her own candle company out of the experience and creates a pet-friendly candle. So what she told me is the paraffin wax actually has soot to it, and it's inhalable, and it's oily, and it gets on the walls, and it's very dirty and unhealthy. Most beeswax candles are mixed with paraffin, so that's an out. Beeswax by itself is too soft. She uses coconut and soy-based candles. I've never heard of a vegetable wax candle. I guess coconut is, it's a nut, right? So right there, the wax itself can be toxic. And then the fragrance, the essential oils in the candles become artificial oils or artificial fragrances because of the flashpoint on the oils. So even like doTERRA says not to heat past 80 degrees. A flame can go up to 140. So it denatures it and it makes it artificial and toxic. So just be careful with that. So high-powered fragrances that are used for scent specific, but not essential oils for your candles. And essential oils, make sure they're 100% pure therapeutic grade. There's so much conflicting information about essential oils. It's overwhelming. There's a term called essence oil, which I didn't know. And that doesn't mean it's essential oils. So you don't want to use that. More than likely, they're synthetic or they have a pre-mixed blend and mixed in some sort of other type of thing. You do not want to use essence oil. Never diffuse poor grade oils. My dog, where'd he go? I can hear him. Never diffuse poor grade essential oils, especially around cats. There's normally Latin names of plant species on higher quality essential oils, as well as where the part of the plant is derived from. Diffuse, if you're going to diffuse, use a well-ventilated room. Plus, never confine your animals. Always give them the option to leave. And do not use oils on or near your animal's eyes, ears, nose, and genitalia. And that is from Preventative Vet and Dr. Janet Rourke. Cats and scents. Rule of thumb, cats dislike anything in the mint family, which I find totally ironic because catnip is from the mint family. Also, citrus seems to be a deterrent to cats, including bergamot. Avoid spicy scents like tea tree, cinnamon, oregano, and thyme. Many sites actually recommended orange peels for deterrents for cats who want to tamper with your Christmas tree. So they would say, cut up some oranges, maybe get dehydrated oranges and put them on the lower branches or even around the bottom of the tree so they don't drink the tree water. I don't know if it works. Let me know if you try it. Post below in the comments. Dogs and scents, caution with any hot scents, cinnamon, clove, cassia, rosemary, oregano, and thyme. Avoid birch, wintergreen, and tea tree. And that's from Dr. Janet Rourke's Essential Oil Guide. Toxic botanicals. So dangerous festive botanicals. Mistletoe can be fatal. If you have pets and curious pets, instead of getting real mistletoe, get fake mistletoe. There's no reason to even have real mistletoe around your pets. It's not worth it. Holly contains toxic saponins, so it can be harmful. Poinsettia is thought to be very, very toxic or mildly toxic compared to mistletoe and holly. Christmas rose is toxic and lilies can be fatal to cats. And that's from choice.com. And Christmas trees. What about Christmas trees? One, fall risk. The tree can fall on your animals, especially if your cat is climbing up your tree and it's not very stable. The Christmas tree water can be contaminated with fertilizers, additives, and dangerous bacteria. Never add additional chemicals such as bleach or tree freshener to your tree water. Sorry about that. And prevent your pet from drinking by covering the tree with some sort of cover. Or just let your tree die. I don't know. That's kind of once the water soaks up and it gets a little dry and crispy, I guess it would be a fire risk, but it might be easier the closer you are to Christmas to let it dry out a little bit. Needles are also extremely sharp and if ingested can perforate the stomach and throat. Right, let me take a break. Does that make you hungry? I'm vegan and I'm hungry looking at that. So according to Blue Pearl, which is a vet, I don't know if you call it like a vet franchise. It has more than 100 animal hospitals around 29 states in the US. Veterinarians see 372% increase in emergency pet visits every Christmas Eve compared to any other day. And the one culprit on this is chocolate. I always hear these stories about how people like feed their dog chocolate, whether it's by accident, like chocolate cake or something like that. And they're like, my dog didn't have a problem, but it's not worth it. You guys, chocolate is toxic to dogs. Chocolate, dark chocolate, baking chocolate contain higher toxin concentration than milk chocolate, and small amounts can cause toxicity. If you think that your pet has ingested chocolate or any toxic food, call your vet, go to the ER, and treatments, the sooner, the better. Now, I worked for a veterinarian. She was a friend of mine, and she called me out of the blue and said, my dog is having a chocolate toxicity reaction and nothing conventional is helping. Can you help me? And I happened to be in the area. I was literally down the street from her and showed up, and I was shocked. I've never seen anything like it. This dog, and it was a Boston, was rocked back and vomiting straight in the air. You know how dogs normally like drop their head to heave and vomit? There was no heaving. There was no dropping the head. This dog just opened its mouth as wide as possible and projectile vomited. And it was off M&Ms, you guys. It was crappy milk chocolate type M&Ms. She had left them on her bedside table, and the dog jumped up there and grabbed them and ate them all. She had a bunch of other dogs. None of them touched it, but that one dog. And she was blown away. I used Golden Seal. I treated it almost like an allergy. Golden Seal, homeopathy, and milk thistle. The dog instantly improved. By the next day, the dog's liver enzymes were normal and running around like it never happened. She was blown away. I was blown away too. I'm going to be real. I've never treated a chocolate toxicity. We had nothing to lose. She was a veterinarian supervising it, and it turned out really great. But I'm not discouraging you to go to the ER. Better safe than sorry. Fatty foods, you guys, it's a major, major culprit of some serious health issues. So resist the temptation of sharing your fatty meat, trimmings, gravy, and other rich foods. And please tell your guests not to, too. These can cause severe pancreatitis, bloating, vomiting, significant dehydration from the excessive salt, systemic life-threatening effects that can land your pet in the ER, possibly kill them. And I've actually had a client who gave her dog like ham and bacon, wanted to share her holiday Christmas meal with her dog, and all of a sudden he had cancer. Not long after that, maybe a week or two, he was diagnosed with cancer and died by February. So whether he had a pre-existing cancer, I don't know, but it lit something on fire within him. So if you want to have a holiday meal with your pet, stick to lean meats, no onions, sweet potato, fresh vegetables, no gravy, light salt, if any salt, and make them a little meal. But if you have a sensitive pet that can't handle like changes in the diet, of course, just don't feed them anything off the menu. Dough. Dough is a problem with dogs. Yeast dough can cause problems for pets, including painful gas, potentially dangerous, causing bloat. Bloat is life-threatening. It is a medical emergency. Time is of the essence. So how do you know if your animal is bloating? Your dog will have non-productive retching. They'll like open their mouth and try to vomit, but nothing will come out. Distended stomach area, elevated heart rate, weak collapsing, and possible death. Homeopathy can definitely help with that. But get to the vet ASAP. This is nothing to screw around with. If you have any inkling that your dog might be bloating, better safe than sorry. Call your vet in advance. Additionally, yeast also uses sugars in the fermentation process. Sorry. Which creates carbon dioxide and alcohol if there's sugar added. So they can actually get alcohol reaction from the fermenting yeast, which can be harmful to them too. Excessive salt can cause salt poisoning and results in vomiting, diarrhea, decreased appetite, lethargy, tremors, seizures, and coma, in severe cases, death. Sources of salt besides your kitchen include homemade Play-Doh, salt dough, like these little homemade Christmas ornaments. So you don't want to put them on the lower limbs of your tree. If you have those, place them as high as possible because they taste good to your animal. Rock salt. So if you live in a snow area and they're using rock salt on the ground, that can be a toxin to your dog. Paintballs, seawater, and enema solutions, which I had no idea. Alcohol is a top emergency holiday mishap. Your pet can lap up from an abandoned cup, or if somebody spills drink on the ground. Alcohol affects people and animals similarly, but animals are way, way, way more sensitive. So alcohol toxicity can be fatal if your pet drinks enough. Caffeine, another tragedy. One of my friends' dog died this way. Her dog got into the trash and there was coffee grounds in the trash that had mixed in with table scraps. Ate the table scraps covered in coffee grounds and died from caffeine poisoning. Hold on, you guys. I need to drink. So 1 or 2 laps of coffee, tea, or soda should not poison your animal unless they're really tiny. But 1 to 2 diet pills, moderate amount of coffee grounds, or eating tea bags could cause death in a small animal. Within 1 to 2 hours of exposure, mild to severe hyperactivity, restlessness, vomiting, tachycardia, hypertension, abnormal heart rate, tremors, hyperthermia, seizures, and collapse could happen. Every pet owner should have activated charcoal on hand. If you own a pet, you should own activated charcoal. I've used it so many times, internally and topically. It is what your vet will use too. And aggressive IV fluids to flush that out. Spices. They're not only tasty and beautiful, but also full of amazing health benefits. So it's no wonder why we want to share them with our animal friends. But just because it's good for humans does not mean it's good for all your 4-legged family. Spices are dried bark, roots, berries, seeds, twigs, or anything else that isn't the green leafy part. Green leafy parts are herbs. I created a spice, naughty, and nice list so you can share your spices with confidence. Now, there is always a chance of an animal having an allergy. So never use a lot of spices in general. That's just wisdom. And maybe just test a little tiny bit to make sure your pet likes it and also not sensitive to it. Feel free to take a photo of it if you want. Allspice has eugenol. It could be toxic. Anise seed is safe for dogs, horses, and cats, but the star anise is not safe. Black pepper is okay. There is concerns that it is toxic. It's safe for horses. Black pepper, I interviewed Dr. Jean Dodds like 1.5 years ago, and she was a big no on black pepper. And I know there's tons of things on the internet about making the golden paste. The black pepper is not needed for dogs to be effective, so you can dump that. Cardamom is a yes. Cinnamon in small amounts is a yes. Even with humans, large amounts of cinnamon could be life-threatening. So we're talking tiny. Clove is mostly a no because of the eugenols. I have used clove in horses successfully, but small amounts. It does arouse them. Fennel is a yes. Fenugreek is a yes. Frankincense is a yes. Ginger is a yes in smaller doses. Great for GI tract issues. Juniper used with caution. Myrrh is safe for dogs, cats, and rabbits. But orally, I have not seen great results with horses, and I do love it topically. Nutmeg is toxic for dogs and cats. It is in pumpkin pie spice mixes. It is in eggnog. So just watch out for nutmeg. Horses, I've seen it in some horse products, but I actually don't know how safe it is. Excuse me, you guys. And peppermint. It is safe for horses and dogs. Cats are supposed to be repulsed by it. I'm not really sure. And once again, the irony of all that is the fact that catnip is in the mint family. And stressors. People can be stressors. Strangers in homes, loud noises, changes in your routine, children chasing pets and grabbing onto their ears and tails. It's an escape risk when people leave the door open or just a little lax. I actually lost a cat that way and never got it back. Other people's pets, people bringing their pets over, guests slipping fatty scraps to your dog or cat, and they're a fall risk. Somebody could trip. How to help? Homeopathy is my jam. I think for an acute crisis, it's the fastest working modality and gives you the best chance possible to recover your pet to vital. You can administer it on your way to the vet and give your animal the best chance at recovering faster, and it might even be stable by the time you get to the vet. Bentonite clay is a detoxifier. It balances out the pH. It's alkaline, and it grabs onto the chemistry of worry and stress. So the adrenal overload, it flushes that out. And then you have relaxation herbs, essential oils, creating a safe space. Exercise your animal prior to any large events to take the edge off them. Hopefully they sleep more. You might need to board your animal. If I have a large event or something happening where I know I cannot be attended to my dog's needs, I have a great dog sitter that lets me board for a matter of like 1 or 2 hours if I need to, or overnight. Music to desensitize and drown out the party sounds. Getting a trainer, but that would be in advance, and setting the ground rules with your guests. Make sure your guests know what is happening. And the AVMA did an amazing job with an article about holiday pet tips. I was really impressed by it. So just here's some highlights from it. Comfortable place for your dog, cat. Make sure they have a safe area to retreat or a crate. Inform your guests that you have animals, especially if they are allergic, have compromised immune systems, or pregnant, like the cats and the toxoplasmosis, which can cause abortion. Watch the exits. Even if your pets are comfortable with guests being around, make sure they just don't escape. Make sure your microchip and all your ID tags are on current information. Clear foods from your table, your counters, and your serving areas when you're done using them. And make sure the trash gets put wherever your pet can't reach it. Dispose of the carcasses and bones and anything used to wrap the meat with, such as strings, bags, and packaging. And be prepared in advance. Make sure you know how to get to your 24/7 emergency vet clinic before there's an emergency. Talk with your veterinarian, get a referral on where he or she would recommend you going. And if you're going out of town, maybe they can advise on that too. Always keep these numbers posted in an easy to find location, especially if you're going out of town and you have a pet sitter. I also advise doing vitals. So if your pet has, I actually have this vital printout where you can fill it in for your pet's vitals and post it or take a cell phone photo of it when they're in their normal state. So you have something to compare it to, whether normal and stressed. And also the ASPCA poison hotline and the pet poison helpline. Those are great numbers to have on hand. I don't know if they charge for it. They used to charge, somebody used to charge for pet poison consultations. And I think that's it. So thank you for watching. I hope this blesses you and that your holiday and your pet celebration is absolutely beautiful. Feel free to put any comments below in the chat. And if I missed anything, add to it, you guys. I'm totally down with that. So if you want to add to the convo on pet holiday safety on anything that I might have missed, let's do it. I'm not proud. All right, take care, and I hope this blessed you.